just sort of thinking about, again, work-life balance and young professionals sort of raising up right now and starting to take leadership within companies and leadership within firms and real estate law. No matter what it is, it seems like there's young people that are coming up, right? The millennials are definitely starting to take on more leadership roles, but with that comes hours, right? And it's a real hard balance, it seems like right now for friends of mine, where putting the kids to bed at 8 o'clock and then getting back on the computer for a couple hours and then waking up at 5, 6 o'clock to get back on it. Did you have that same experience, or do you have that same experience now? And how do you balance that with a son and wife, and making sure that like they feel supported while like this is what you enjoy doing, so you're going to do a lot of it?
Yeah.
How does that
Yeah.
play
So I think the one thing that I would say in that kind of scenario that you drew out there is the tricky thing, and I bet you experienced this in going from agent to running a team,
Right.
And running a whole organization, is, and this happened to me in the context of working in a local television
Right.
station, writing and producing
Right.
spots and things and campaigns and all that. Typically, I saw it in the sales teams as well. The best salesperson then is the first in line to become the sales manager.
Right.
And it's a really interesting decision to make for yourself. It seems like, well, we should be making that transition. That seems like the natural progression. I should be doing that. But it's a completely different job.
Right.
Not only does it come with a different set of responsibilities and expectations, that's kind of a given. Like, this is going to be more demanding of my time and of my
Right.
attention and of all of my energy
Right.
and everything.
Right.
But it's a whole different job, right? Like
right.
I was really good at this one thing, and therefore the door was
Right.
open for me to do this. And so I would, anyone that's in those places and in those moments, like, recognize that this is going to require a completely different skill set, and my day-to-day is going to look a lot different. That doesn't mean it shouldn't be done, but I know that a lot of organizations aren't good at training.
Right.
Or in your case, you're just doing it for yourself, so you had to figure it out. I think that's where a lot of the hours come in. Like, how is this different? How's this different from what I thought it would be?
Right.
I just thought it would just be more money.
Right. Yeah, I mean,
There's more work too.
Right. One of my wife's main comments is, "Will this ever end?" And I'm like,
Yeah.
I don't know if it'll
Right.
ever end. Right.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Because there's always another challenge to overcome. Right. And so each time, you change, and that's been a conversation at our house a lot. Is, okay, do you just do sales? Do you just do this, or do you just do that? And it's like, okay, with the evolution of employees and offices, and that makes you change, right, and adjust your approach to a lot of different things, which is healthy and good, but then the hours still stick there, right?
Yeah.
And so that's a great point to think of, being a young professional.
Yeah.
Right?
The emotional component too is really interesting, and I bet this has been a conversation at your house. I'll just assume that it is or has been. I was at a marketing conference in Denver. And I was chatting with one of the guys that was going to be speaking the next day, who super sharp online marketer and built his own agency. And so I was just chatting with him about what that looked like and what some of his biggest challenges were. Like, I knew it would be a little 3-minute conversation. Right. What can I take from this guy besides giving him a compliment? Because I've read a lot of his stuff. A gentleman named Mike King, who runs an agency in Brooklyn. Okay. And he said that one of the hardest things about going from, I'm a very prolific online marketer, I publish a lot of content to market myself and my services, I serve a lot of my clients. The one tough thing for him was, now I have 5 or 6 or 8 or 10 other people who depend on me. They depend on my decisions. They depend on my leadership. Their families depend on me. And that's a whole different kind of pressure and responsibility.
Different stress, right.
Yeah. So whether you run the whole organization or a team within the organization, that's a whole other layer of emotional commitment and responsibility and stewardship. We had that like in our pre-talk before we turned the cameras on. That stewardship, like you're responsible for a lot more than I think you might think before you get into the role.
Right. Hiring your first employee and then all of a sudden having 3. It's like the first one you didn't really think of, right? You hear it a lot in our industry. Well, I'm just going to hire a buyer agent or maybe a part-time admin person. Well, that first hire you don't think much of it. Like, there's not as much commitment to it. But yeah, once you add that second or third, all of a sudden it's like, oh wait, I all of a sudden have an organization here that I have to participate with. It's just different, right?
And I know his children, and I know her husband, and I know all these people, and now they're like, my family is larger, and I'm responsible
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
indirectly for all of them.
Right. So, we gotta wrap this up pretty quick, but you come back to West Michigan. I know
I
it's
do.
not just to hang out with me.
No.
Even though I'd love to think that. Give me the rundown.
Yeah.
Why? So you grew up in West Michigan. So is it just coming back for family? What do you love about West Michigan, and what do you do when you're here?
Yeah, it's definitely family. My family is here.
Yeah.
My wife's family is here. My sister and her family. My wife's brother and his family. So
Yeah.
we come back for family for sure. But we're in beautiful Colorado Springs, which is Pikes Peak, Garden of the
Yeah.
Gods, like
Yeah.
all the imagination that people in West Michigan have about what Colorado is. It's all
It's
real.
there.
But the interesting thing is, you live there, and when you come back here, it's amazing how much you take for granted when you're here. Like Lake Michigan is a wonderful, spectacular
Isn't it
thing.
brilliant?
Yeah, it's the best
Yeah.
of the Great Lakes
Yeah.
in my opinion. I've visited 4 of them, and it's
Yeah.
still the best.
Yeah.
Especially the West Coast is
Yeah.
market here. But deciduous forests. Like I love being outside.
Yeah.
I love being outside.
Yeah.
Trails and hiking and running and things. And so just being under a canopy of trees.
Which is all over the place.
Yeah,
Around here.
it's everywhere.
Yeah.
And so, like walking out of my my in-laws' neighborhood, right across the street is just it's a trail through a forest. It doesn't go anywhere in particular. It's just like a little walkway through the
Yeah.
forest. So, like when you're gone from it, and now you're in the Alpine Desert, you come back and it's just a spectacular place. And so, I love downtown. Downtown is constantly changing, very healthy. I love the beer scene. I've been to Brick Road and I've been to Harmony. And Founders,
I'm
yeah,
assuming.
yeah. Well, I just mean on this trip.
Oh,
yeah,
on the-
yeah. Right. So that's awesome.
4 days in.
Yeah. But downtown is really awesome. Like I think
Yeah.
a healthy downtown is critical to a healthy city in general.
Yeah.
And when I compare Grand Rapids to Colorado Springs, they're both very, very similar to each other. But just wrapping up here on the family piece. Not only is my whole family here, but when I think about how resilient Grand Rapids has been and how I feel like it's kind of arrived in a way, I see it in a
Yeah.
lot of national
Yeah.
press now being like halfway across the country. Another just last family component here, when you think about the Van Andel, DeVos,
Yeah.
Meyer families, what they've done in this town, like they've committed to this region, they've committed to
Yeah,
the
their
city.
investment is just amazing.
Yeah, and they've accelerated or added value to all the things that are already good about the city in the first place. And that's something that's actually missing where I live now. And so there's no, call them benefactors or whatever,
Yeah.
but like that commitment to the region where you're going to have generations of that family living here, adding value and all of that is like, that's a really neat thing here too. So we'll go to Meyer Garden, we'll go to the
Yeah.
new art museum, we'll
Yeah.
walk around downtown, we'll visit some galleries,
That's awesome.
Vertigo Music on, shout out to Vertigo Music on Division, old school, classic.
Yeah. Cool. Anything else that you'd love to share about your life experience that you think other agents that might be watching this or other business professionals?
Yeah, this is for any human being, right?
Right.
We talked a little bit about the integrity of kind of who you are as a person and who you are in a business and as a business, is basically the golden rule. Like when I was thinking about advice that I've gotten or books that I've read, and you can get the little quick tips and graphics
Sure.
on any social media
Yeah.
platform. Like it all comes back to the golden rule, which is represented in every major world religion, some to the affirmative, some to the negative. But it's like, if you always treat people as you want to be treated, you're going to do all the right things. You're going to care. You're going to care more. You're going to be more honest with yourself and with other people. You're going to be better to work with. You're going to ultimately be more satisfied. And I think if more people thought that way, like in a real way, like in our best moments when we sit back and we want to pat ourselves on the back for being awesome, we'd say, "Yeah, I treat other people the way I prefer to be
Right.
treated." No, we don't, because that's not the easiest thing in most
definitely
cases.
not
And
easy.
so, no matter what business you're in, you're going to win if that is your approach from the outset. And when you live it as much as you talk it or think it, when you want to mentally pat yourself on the back, feel like I'm a good person, even though
Yeah.
I maybe made some questionable decisions to get myself ahead a little bit faster.
Yeah.
I think you're always going to win from that position.
That's sweet. So, I mean, one thing that I have new agents consistently asking me is, should I have a business Facebook page and a personal Facebook page? And I said, well, what are you trying to separate? Because if you're a real estate agent or you're whatever it is, I'm Steve, and like either they're going to know me as Steve or they're not, right? Like, and to separate, it's okay to have a business page, but to separate trying to create two different brands of you, it's like just be you.
Yeah.
That's what people want to connect with.
Yeah, and that's what makes you
not-
referable. That's
Right.
what, I mean, ultimately in real estate, you're just trying to get people to say, yes, I choose you.
Right, by being real and genuine
Correct.
and treating them the way that they would expect to be treated. I mean, it's
Right.
very simple.
And that's
right?
the repeat and referral piece as
Right.
well. So, yeah, first of all, personal page is gonna get a lot more
Yeah.
delivery
Right.
than the
Right.
private page, or than the business page
Yeah.
at this point. But yeah, I agree. You kind of who you are and just mix it in with balance.
Yeah. Well, thanks so much for joining us. This is a long conversation, but I think these conversations need to be had a little bit more in the how do you balance work life in being a young professional, male or female, in our industry or any business professional careers that are out there. So
Yeah.
thanks for coming.
Thank you very much.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, it's
Let's
fun.
go have a beer.
Very good.
All right. See ya. We're out.